I love
it.
I know you guys.
I reworked the intro just for this show. Yeah. Let me drop it. Yeah, so the other one's kind of cute and fun, and I was like, we got to go death metal.
Definitely.
All right, everybody. I am Benito Garcia, the most rad nerd, and I have two of some of my favorite people on the whole planet on the show today, and we're going to talk about, well, we should say it right if we're going to talk about Mork Borg.
Right.
We've been playing that for a while. You guys want to introduce yourselves real quick?
Go ahead, Jenna.
My name is Jenna, and I'm from the Galactic Driftwood podcast, which is another fun sci-fi, fantasy, all the nerd things that you might want to hear about.
Right. And I'm William Janger Newman, or Bill, more commonly. Also from the Galactic Driftwood podcast. Been involved with Benito playing some sort of RPG game for probably since before 2020, I think, because we start before the COVID lockdown. Then we went virtual, I think, for a while.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Jenna said something about it last night. There's COVID time.
Right.
You're trying to figure out spaces of time, and it was before that.
Yeah, so it's been a while. So a lot of D&D under the bridge between then and now.
Yeah,
now we've started a whole new terrifying adventure, right?
Yeah. Started Mork Borg.
Right.
Right. So let's just talk real quick about my show, your show, and where people can find it. And we'll just do this real quick. Everybody always says paying the bills. So let's pay real quick. So let's look at, here it is, the Synergy Nation Network. And there are podcasts on there. There's some video shows like this one on there. And you guys are definitely on here. Let's look at podcast. Galactic Driftwood right here.
Dun, dun, dun. There we are.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, where'd you go? That was my fault. And am I not doing this right? There we go.
There we go.
I love your background on here.
We got to get the seasons updated. We're into season 6 already. Can you believe that?
Wow, no kidding. Well, this is a good place to go back and listen to some old ones then.
Right.
Got some bios on here.
Classic. Galactic Driftwood.
There's some really cool shit on here. Weekly Geekly, which is the flagship really of the network. And then their big deal is what's their new one with Death Clock? That's been a huge success. The Weekly Geekly, so you guys talk comics to me, thoughts and shots, Go RPG. Go RPG has sort of slid into the most rad nerd now. Oh, my phone's going. It's kind of slid into the most rad nerd now. It looks like the website might be having some hiccups there. So, there it is. Yeah. So we've been posting most rad nerd shows on there. And there's some old games on there. Like there's Barry. And there's some cool review stuff. It's just kind of a fun place to go hang out. And if you're into interesting things like most people are, it's a good place. There's all kinds of sci-fi and horror and comic books and, nerdy stuff like what we're into.
Right.
Sure. All right. Are you guys ready to talk about it?
Ready as I'll ever
do
be.
it.
Mork Borg.
That sounds.
Go ahead.
It sounds better now that we have the language pronunciation, because otherwise it's almost like a Muppet name, like Mork Borg. That's how in my head, like, something from Jen Henson.
I had posted something on Reddit about it, and I think I called it Mork Borg in the dice video I made, where we had made some Mork Borg dice, which are super bloody and gross. And right away, one of the first comments was, "Hey, you Americans pronounce it wrong." And then it was all spelled out phonetically and how to pronounce it. So yeah, it's Mork Borg, which means it's Swedish for dark tower, I believe, is what the actual translation is.
I was trying to tell my wife Linda how to pronounce it, and she goes, "It's not my fault they don't know how to speak English."
Right. I ran across, and it's just little. There's really not much to it as far as the size goes of the book. I ran across it because I was over at my friend Derek's house, who's playing in our group, and I was talking about that I had started to maybe be interested in playing RPGs in a solo version, like remember the old Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Mhm.
And he pulled this out, and as soon as he pulled this book out, I was just like, "What is that?" Just looking at it. He's like, "No, you got to see the inside." And so, like, it's just this great, font and text, and it's every page is different. It might have like 6 different fonts on the same page. So I fell in love with the book before I even knew what the heck it was. And it's not a solo adventure. But what had happened was when this came out, then some supplements had come out on how to play it as a solo game. So I bought it before realizing that. I was watching some videos on the game itself, and I thought, we got to play this. Like, screw this being a solo adventure. I got to get, some of my favorite people together and let's play this thing and see what it gets into. And you think you know somebody until they play this guy right here. Man, you just don't realize how creepy someone is.
How dare you? I think that just says Bill has the most commitment to
That's right.
bringing that character to life.
Wow, right?
You gotta embody your character. My character he's a sick SOB.
He is one sick son of a bitch.
That's right.
And let's clarify for the audience, if they've never played or haven't even looked at it yet, your character is meant to have massive flaws. Like, it's really hard, depending on how you roll to create your character, to give it redeeming qualities in this world, because the world is already setting it up, the character, to be an asshole in some way, and just how far down the deviant hole it goes depends on what you roll when you're creating.
Right, exactly. And character creation's pretty easy. I mean, it didn't take us long. It was a blast. It's the most fun I've ever had at session 0.
Yeah,
was building these characters and watching them literally start out at nothing, and then you just grow and grow, and then you find out that you've got bad traits and flaws, and there's something wrong with your body, or you've got a disease, and
just
it's
when
not
you
that
think it can't get any worse,
I don't
you
think
roll for the next trait, and then you're like, oh my god, that is just so appropriate for that character.
right?
And
Yeah.
And it's
just
taking anything away from you from building your own character.
right.
It's giving you all these little bits and pieces so that then you can form this whole person or this whole creature based on these parts. God, it was so fun. And then Jenna, you're playing out of your comfort zone a little,
Yes.
right?
Well, there's a lot of dead babies in this world, and I'm a semi-new mom. But but I haven't told you guys this actually in a way that's good, because what I wanted to explore, even before we brought up this game, and you look at the previews and everything, child killer and everything that we're hunting down in the first mission, I was having a lot of questions about death and life now that I have a baby. And in a way, this was a cool way to kind of deal with those questions and ideas, because it's just such a shit world anyway. And now you're kind of attacking these different ways of death and destruction.
Yeah.
Right. Billy, got anything? Because then I'm going to read something here.
Yeah. Well, you want? I was thinking it might be kind of fun too at some point, whenever you think, is to say what Chat GPT came up with for a description of Mork Borg.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna do my Mork Borg
okay.
voice.
All right. Good.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Where does it start? Okay. Mork Borg. Doom and gloom voice. Here it comes. Mork Borg is a game that thrusts players into a bleak and harrowing world of despair and hopelessness. The game setting is one of unrelenting darkness, where the very fabric of reality is warped and twisted beyond recognition. As players embark on their journey through the twisted world, they will be confronted by unspeakable horrors and grotesque monstrosities at every turn. The game's mechanics are designed to strip players of any sense of control or agency, leaving them at the mercy of the cruel and uncaring universe they find themselves in. In Mork Borg, death is a constant companion, and players will find themselves struggling to survive against overwhelming odds. The game's atmosphere is suffocating and oppressive.
True.
Accurate.
With every victory feeling hollow and every defeat carrying a sense of crushing finality. The game's aesthetics is one of abject despair, with its stark black and white visuals and haunting bleak soundtrack, invoking a sense of crushing hopelessness. As players progress through the game, they will be forced to confront the darkest aspects of human nature, from greed and corruption to fear and despair. In short, playing Mork Borg is a harrowing and deeply unsettling experience that will leave players feeling drained and emotionally exhausted. I want to go back to that. It is a game that revels in the darkest aspects of the human experience, offering no respite or escape from the crushing weights of its relentless darkness. So for that being AI, it freaking nailed it.
It nailed it totally. So for anyone out there that's, your life is just too perfect, you're tired of looking through rose-colored glasses, you're tired of seeing unicorns and rainbows every morning when you wake up, this is the game too.
Or if you just need to know there's something worse out there so you can appreciate where you're at now,
right?
You can play it.
Right.
That is so true. That's 100%. I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah.
As bad as we got it, we might have it pretty good.
Right.
So just real quick, I said I wanted to go back to that while it's fresh in my mind, that where the game leaves you with feelings. It absolutely does. Like when we were playing and Bill did his first super creepy thing, I had to take a break instantly. And it's not because it was unsettling or upset me. It took me so off guard. And I just didn't even know what to do or what to say or what to think.
Right.
And so we just stopped for a minute.
Yeah. And I was just going to say with this, because you are given these flaws, some people might push against them and try and play their character in a way like I told the group before. So my character has a lot of brute strength. It's a cursed skinwalker, which we can get into more detail later when we talk about our characters. But you would think because I had more strength, brute, good tank going into any situation, logically, I should play it to the front of the party. And when I got home after our first session and I was really thinking about it, I messaged the guys the next morning. I was like, guys, I didn't commit to the cowardly trait that I was given when I rolled. And so the next two sessions when we got together, even though logically to the protection of the party, I should be playing at the front, I stayed to the back. I committed to that cowardly trait. And I think it created more interesting opportunities for the rest of the players to have to take action and fight. And yeah, I think it's, certainly, like I said, you fight it. You want to fight the flaw because it's maybe not the type of character you want to play, but it's an interesting exercise if you do.
It certainly created more near-death experiences for the rest of us.
Right? Last night was.
But didn't you die? You didn't die.
But last night it was very interesting. Your character fought this worm for a minute till an opening became available to run away. Mm-hmm. And I could just picture the whole thing in my mind as you ran away and the big worm's coming after you, and then the other party members show up and it spins around, and then it was so great. Like everything was so fun last night. But real quick, getting back to that, so we took a pause, then we got back into the game, and in the back of my mind, I'm just like, God damn, that Bill is a sick little bitch. It just kept going in the back of my brain. So then we got done playing. It was super fun. We had a blast. And the next morning I woke up and I was sitting on the couch. I'd just gotten out of bed and I was sitting on the couch with my computer, and it was still in my brain. Not that Bill's a sick son of a bitch. I got over that. It was in my brain. It was in my brain. Like Now I'm starting to watch it in a movie because I can really visualize things. I think, Jenna, you said you can too. I was really watching it play out in my mind the next morning. And then I started to have feelings again about it. And I started to feel not uncomfortable, but just something. So I sent a message out on the group like, hey, you know, last night was fun. And, you know, if you're having feelings about things or, you know, if it's having an effect on you somehow, we can talk about it here in this room if you want to. I just didn't know if it affected anybody else, you know, even the next day or long term. And maybe we can get into what Bill's character did when we get to his character in sort of a way that doesn't creep out the whole world that listens to this.
let's not get Bill on a list. Because I feel like that's the thing that would happen.
Well, and then I kind of went in on your follow-up on your post and talked about my character's decisions a little bit and reveal a little bit more that Nino didn't even catch.
I didn't. Yeah. God, it's so fun. It's such a dark, gritty game. And here's the other thing too. I think when we started, you guys didn't think your lifespan was going to be much further than a few steps out of the castle, and you may die and then you have backup characters just in case. And as quickly as you level up, and in this it's called getting better, you get more hit points pretty early and some more training things. And so you're not quite as squishy, but I think going into it, even myself, because we hadn't played yet, I kind of thought you might not last very long.
Yeah.
But you guys have made it quite a ways through. So we keep talking about characters. Should we look at them?
Sure.
All right, let's do that.
Because we have a party of 5 players with you as our DM. Right?
Yep.
And the characters couldn't be more different.
All right, here we go, share. Okay. I love this guy. I love this guy. He's played by Rick Shookus. And he's not very new to RPGs at all anyway. When we first brought him in to play Dungeons and Dragons, we were looking for a 5th level character because we had lost one. And he'd never played before. And to just throw somebody in at 5th level and just say, you know, here's the books, here, go figure out how to make a 5th level character. Here's some videos and whatnot. And then on top of that, he picked a wizard. And, you know, he stumbled around for a little bit and tried to figure it out and was trying to play catch up. And his character now, I mean, now that he's had a few sessions, and he's pretty good with that wizard, and he's still learning. Mm-hmm. And I feel terrible we thrust him into it the way we did. But here's where he gets to shine, I think.
Oh, yeah.
In playing an RPG.
He really stepped into the character's skin, so to speak, last night.
He did. And I think, you know, the 2 sessions leading up to this one, maybe a little reserved for no more reason than just maybe because he wasn't sure the mechanics or how to even play this guy correctly, because he can't speak. You know, he's kind of a nutball anyway. And the fact he can't speak and you add that together, the things that he does seem manic and just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I think last night is where his character came full circle, and now it's a really good character.
So essentially his character is just a sack of skin, a skin suit animated by flies.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sort of become our connoisseur of corpses and rotted flesh, and
he may or may not have eaten my barf at one point.
Right. Yeah, he's disgusting.
I think go ahead.
Brings up an important aspect of this game too. If you're not used to it, you have to eat, you have to drink. There are rations, and it impacts your hit points. So if you don't have enough food, you could die just from between, you know, locations of food. So the fact that he can eat almost anything helps his character out a lot. I can eat a lot of stuff, just not as much as him, as a cursed bear skinwalker.
Right. And as you know, we're playing and we're setting these characters up, and we're learning that food and water are super important. Then all of a sudden, the game lends itself to just being dark and gross and disgusting anyway. And then you play characters that you realize that you can just about eat anything and you can just about drink anything.
Right.
So all of a sudden rations might not be that big a deal when you're just cutting chunks of flesh off of something or someone.
Right.
Put it in your pocket to eat it later.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you have to have a little ration box.
Right.
And people are eating weird things in this game.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the first time we come across a horde of zombie babies and Jenna just starts chowing down.
Right.
It's like I said, my character will eat children, but they will kill it first. I mean, you got to eat to survive, but just the whole playing with the food thing that Bill's character does is not.
So what I like about this guy, and I've got their names right here. Let me grab real quick. Give me 1 second. I got everybody's names. All right. It is Kratar. Kratar is Fly Guy. We just call him Fly Guy. But what I loved last night was, and I didn't know necessarily what he was thinking, but he said, "Is there a gap under this door that I'm trying to get through?" And I rolled, and yeah, there's a gap under the door. And so he's a whole body on his hands and knees, but put his head down to where the bottom of the door is, the space between the door, and the flies just went and just flattened his head so that he could slip his flat skin head under the door and then be able to look around and see what's in the room, which again are flies in his eye sockets, and it's the fly eyes that are seeing everything.
Yeah.
And when he goes to speak or opens his mouth, it's just completely packed with flies. So just everything about his character is just disgusting. I love it. It's so gross. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's see. Where's my little... Oh, maybe we got to go backwards. Okay, we got to go backwards. Sorry. We were out. Oh, here we go. All right. Well, we might as well get into it because we've got everybody intrigued about Bill's character. Bill, why don't you just describe your character? Because I feel like you'll do a better job than I would.
Okay. Well, my character's name is Varisi, and he's a member of the Inquisition. He's like their expert torturer, profession at getting confessions out of people. Whether or not they have something to confess is irrelevant. He manages to get it out of them, and he carries a beheading axe pretty much with him everywhere he goes. But he also has a toolbox. He has he's got a tongue hammer, bone saws, all kinds of horrible things that you might imagine in a torturer's kit. And he loves employing his trade, and he's got this permanent ball of phlegm in his throat that he's constantly trying to hack it up and spit it out, and he can't. So it's just constantly there, and he's just a bad guy. He thinks he should be the Grand Inquisitor, but his fellow peers at the Inquisition have not seen fit to promote him to a higher rank yet. So he's kind of left his quarters at the Inquisition, and he's gone out searching for an audience that will appreciate his talent, preferably a screaming one.
Right. And also you torture yourself.
Yes. I may or may not at some point have flayed my own genitals.
According to the book. According to
the book. But I also periodically, like last night, we emerged from this tunnel into this beautiful greenhouse thing, right? And the sun was streaming in, and I mean, that's just absurd because there is no sun streaming anywhere on this world. If you're outside, it's just horribly bleak, overcast, usually thunderstormy. So we knew going into this greenhouse that this wasn't real, but it felt so good. Varisi just went in there and immediately took out his dagger and started, cutting himself because, that's the only way he could escalate his sense of beauty and feeling of one with where he was. So, yeah.
So I'll try to paraphrase the thing that made me feel feelings.
Yeah.
Was long story short, your crew came across some slavers that had they were taking some slaves to market, and they were just sort of destitute, skinny. I think one guy had a broken ankle and was walking on the bone, and they just were not in good shape anyway. But Bill's character just couldn't leave it at that. Couldn't just let him. Right. I mean, you guys killed the slavers, and then you had to free.
Well, I was trying to buy one of the slaves first, and they didn't want to kind of deal with me. I was kind of haggling with them, and one of our members of our party just decided, hell with it, I'm just going to kill these guys.
Yeah.
So he did.
Yeah. So your character took a person of the group and walked this person by the hand into the woods. And we're just like, oh no, this is the most horrible thing I'm visualizing or thinking of ever. And Jenna's character, being a mother, right?
Right, because this was a child. Let's just tell him it was a child that I took.
I was trying not to.
Initially.
That was going to be my reveal at the end, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's okay. So so she's like, no, not going to do that. We're not going to do that with a young person. And Bill's character is like, okay, fine, and walks her back, and we're all thinking, okay, we got avoided that traumatic experience. But so instead, Bill's character takes it's a mother, a father, and their daughter. So Bill's character decides he's going to take the mother instead and take her into the woods and torture her and get all of his jollies that he gets from torturing and hurting people. So he gets that that thrill.
Right.
And the bonus is her screams of pain and anguish and awfulness is then also going to affect the husband and the daughter for the bonus.
Right. So it's like a 3-for-1 kind of a deal for reason. Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
The worst was he gave do you want to say it? What he gave the daughter?
He what?
The worst was when he was done, he took the mother's scalp and gave it to the daughter as a token to remember her mother by.
That's right. Oh, this game, I'm telling you, I never had so much fun feeling so gross and dirty. So there should be a warning on this game depending upon how you play it. Luckily, we laughed through the whole thing. It goes back to public service, like police officers, firefighters, ambulance. And, you have to laugh at things that are horrible or you'll just melt and die. Right. And so luckily we're laughing through this whole game. But when you take a moment and you don't have a room full of people laughing and you're just like, oh, my God, like this is the craziest thing I've ever been a part of. So there should be a warning that says this may affect you mentally down the road 2 weeks later after you play this game. Right. All right. So, yeah.
Well, and to be fair, we should probably throw in there a little bit about the venue we're playing in, because you've created an awesome place to play there, and you can kind of see it behind Benito there. But what you can't see is that, up in the ceiling area, he's got what looks like, he's got LED lights up in there, like string lights, LED string lights, and he can change the colors on them. And then you've got like cotton underneath it, so it looks like clouds. So as we're playing, that sky is like strobing like storm and lightning he has going on there. And of course the music, it's this oppressive music for the most part, except for like last night when we're listening to this violin solo. But I mean, mostly you just get into this mindset, and of course the graphics on the screen that you have on the table there just sort of immerses you, and so it just tends to bring this out in you, because you start to feel like, I feel like I'm in this area. I feel like I can really embody this character now.
Yeah, if you look back here, that's more lights probably than what we have when we play. We shut the lights clear off.
Yeah.
We got some candles that sit in front of me, and then you guys have your own little teeny lights so you can read your page. But it's pretty dark. And that music, you're right, is so oppressive and heavy, and it's just that drowning. It just gets into your system. So, okay, so moving on. The Mork Borg people are going to see this video and be like, nobody's going to ever play our game. But no, actually, I think they thrive on this part of it. I've seen some different things. Okay, so here's Derek's character. I love the esoteric hermit, and he plays it really well.
He does.
And I talked to him on a couple of different occasions about things. Dayru, I talked to him on a couple of occasions, and he was talking. He was saying I don't really say a lot. Like, I'm really kind of quiet in the game. And originally I thought, because the game I thought was getting to him mentally, and I thought, oh man, Derek shut down. And I noticed that after your character did the bad thing to the mom.
Yeah.
And then that's when I noticed it, which was probably just a coincidence. I was like, he just shut down. Like, he is done. He's finished. But I had talked to him later, and he said that he was playing the character that way. And he's like, I don't know if that really works in a setting, a group setting of an RPG, where everybody has to do a little something to get the mission done. But it's literally perfect.
Yeah.
It really matches his character.
Right. Yeah, I think so.
His character, some of the things that you roll are very random. Basically, what you find out is he was kicked off of a remote island that apparently nobody knows about or has even heard of. He was kicked off of this island. That's all you know. And he found a little cave, and he said he's nude in the cave, I think, or something.
Yeah.
He just draws symbols, and his whole cave walls are just symbols. He's just as happy as could be in that thing, alone, with his thoughts and whatever's happening, and doesn't like to be bothered and wants to be left alone. And his character, is thrust into this game, and yeah, he does a great job with that, even though he doesn't really say anything.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes time to kill something, if it goes right, if the scroll goes right, it's really just a snap of the finger.
Yeah.
Things just die around him.
Right. Right. He's a pretty powerful SOB.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do enjoy his character quite a bit. Let's move on to, here we go. Now we can let Jenna shine. This is her character, and I'll let you go through this one.
So what's great is that the way the book prompts you is that this is two characters. I mean, you could probably play it where your personality that you choose to hold is the main one in the Skinwalker, because what happens is it says that you've died, but then you woke up sharing a body with the Skinwalker, and you're not sure what to do. And it gives you different options to play different animals depending on how you roll. Luckily, I got a bear because that works really well with how I play the character, being a tank, especially because when we first started, we didn't have a lot of very powerful, tough people in terms of strength and hit points.
Yeah.
I knew from the beginning I wanted to play it that the Skinwalker itself, the bear, was like this mercenary type, rough, barely any mercy character that gets stuck with a mother that's been murdered because the first quest we have is to take this cannibal child-killing wizard out and find the son of the king. But he's got this reputation of going out and collecting children and using them for nefarious purposes. And my character, the soul that ended up in the Skinwalker, was the mother of one of those children that he took, and she got an arrow to the head, not the knee, the head, which is how she ended up where she is. And it worked because we started off in a prison where we were being tortured. Who knows how long we've been there, all accused as a group of doing this heretic crime. So it worked perfectly in that I figured the cursed Skinwalker was probably killed in the torture at some point and came back with this extra soul. But right now he's in control. He's a coward because he's died before and he never wants to die again. Even though suicide in this world is a great sin and it's considered wonderful when you go to the afterlife, but he still doesn't want to die again. So that's what's made him a coward, and his people around him aren't really sure who he is anymore, I think, because they're not used to this characteristic. And what they don't realize yet is that he's talking to this soul that's trying to get a hold of him, trying to take control in his head. And so he'll be mumbling into himself and hitting himself in the head at times and trying to like. He seems like a spaz at this point. I'm sure.
Like he's got ear mites and he's
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's been your characters is very interesting when you think about what it looks like, what it can look like, and then the actions that happen. It's so very interesting.
And there are some fun details, and I realized too, this character could die before it ever comes out that there is something else inside of this skinwalker.
Right.
And I'm okay with
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, and I'm okay with that, but I have a feeling that the closer we get to the cannibal wizard, the more Katla is probably going to come out, because he's going to want to run and she wants to avenge her child and hopefully die. He doesn't want to die. She's ready to die to be with her baby again.
Gotcha. Oh, that's good.
She wants it out with her.
We should talk maybe just real quick too. When you're talking about that your character could die before, the thing's over. When we started out, you guys didn't have any hit points. I think Derek's character had 1. And I
think Derek and I both had 1.
Yeah, and if with Derek's character, if you're trying to cast a spell or use a scroll is what it's called in this game, there's a chance if you fail at launching this scroll, one of the negative turnabouts is that you just die. I think the spell, luckily he had an omen where he's able to reroll a dice, but he cast this death spell and it went out and it just kind of turned back in and came back to him and would have killed him instantly with the same spell he tried to cast. But yeah, you guys start out with very low 1, 2, 6, So, but you guys have made it a really long ways, and your 2 level ups, you guys are doing good quickly too. That's the thing, is the DM's got to let you guys level up quickly, because as the game goes on and you're facing bigger and stronger things, you've got to have the ability to stay around.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also a terrible mechanic, because you could actually end up with worse stats when you level up instead of always getting better.
That's true. That's a good point. It's based on some rolls, and it when you level up, it's based on milestones, and those milestones could have a negative effect on you as a person, mentally or maybe physically. It just depends on the rolls and what you've dealt with getting this far. Mm-hmm. Maybe your brain is fried from hearing the hordes of undead babies that are out hunting animals in the night, and it's just eat your brain to the point that you're losing points that way.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Ben's character, Monkey Bone. I think originally we were going to call him Bone Daddy, and then it turned out as he was either he bought 2 monkeys with some of the silver he had, or I think
he rolled for him.
Yeah.
I think he rolled to have 2 monkeys.
Yeah, there's a part of the game when you roll to see kind of some of your starting equipment or things that you just automatically have when the game starts, and he had 2 monkeys. Did he have 3 monkeys or 2?
2.
2, okay. He had 2 monkeys to start out with. And I think it says somewhere that it says the monkeys don't like him or don't respect him.
No, they love him, but they don't listen to him.
That's what it was. That's so great. So the minute he got monkeys, then your brain starts turning like, how can I use these monkeys? And so the monkeys throw poop at the bad guys. The monkeys can attack. I think they have bite, claw, throw poop. Yeah. And he uses those to his full advantage. The monkeys are
used.
He's always slinging poop around.
Used in the past tense.
Yeah, we'll get to that. What I love about this character is that a lot of times when you get hurt and you're losing hit points, you can regain your hit points by resting or eating, or maybe you have a potion. With Monkey Bone, if he gets into a battle and he has no skin, he's literally a walking skeleton with heavy armor. I don't know how that happened, but it did. But if something were to happen and he were to take damage, if he were to take damage to an arm or a leg or a foot or whatever, he can replace that damaged bone with another bone from another creature or another being. So I think they're right in the beginning. I think he was stripping something of its skin because he needed to replace an arm or something, and he came out with the arm bone and stuck it back on, and he was a full skeleton again. I love that mechanic. And then on top of that, he can retrieve bones from other creatures like a tail, wings. There was one other, I think, that I don't remember off the top of my head now what it was. So he can start to build himself into this really cool looking creature. But we should talk about the poor monkeys.
Yes.
We love those stinking monkeys. Oh, his other trait is he laughs at the most inopportune times. So every time that something horrible would happen to his monkeys that we thought was horrible, then his character just laughs. I'll have to pull a picture up and insert it in here of what his character looks like when he plays with his mask and his he's got a video sound thing on his phone that makes a laughing sound. But so last night he lost a monkey in the most tragic way. There's part of the game, and I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but I'm going to give a spoiler announcement right now. Don't listen for the next minute. Anyway, there's two skeletons playing the violin on this 50-foot tall column. And we've been listening to that violin for, I think, the last two sessions, probably the entire time. And it's very sad, slow violin music. And it's getting to everybody's nerves, especially Monkey Bone. So Monkey Bone, he's going to use one of his monkeys to climb up this thing and attack the two skeletons that are playing the violins. And to do so, he had to, I think he said he grabbed it by the tail, right?
Yep.
And then swung it like a bolo and threw the monkey over this pit. The monkey he rolled well enough that the monkey was able to grab the column. And it's a monkey, of course, so it scurried up 50 feet to where the violin players are. And then it was a massive battle. It was one and two skeletons armed with violins. So this is a testament to combat. I don't know how many rounds we did in a minute and some change.
Yeah.
It was at least 5 or 6. I think it ended on 6.
Yeah, I think you're right. And so in this game, you roll your attack. Well, so he's rolling for the monkey, but you roll for your attack. And then as soon as that's done, if you hit in your damage or if you just missed, you immediately roll your defense, which is an agility check. So you're rolling to see if you hit your damage. Then you roll to see if you blocked. If you missed, you roll. There's some damage there. And it just goes that quick. As soon as you're done rolling, you roll for the person attacking you and on your defense. And it's back and forth and back and forth, back and forth. Anyway, I think the monkey had, I don't remember. I'm going to throw a number out there. I think he had 6 hit points. Maybe he had 10. Had 6 hit points. 6. And every time the violin hits him, one of the skeleton hits him with a violin or a punch, that's a 1d4. And so those 6 points can go pretty quick. So it's this massive fight on top of this column. The monkey manages to kick the crap out of one skeleton and he flies off the tower. Now it's the two of them going at it. And it was very exciting to watch this go back and forth. Finally, the monkey wins and the monkey comes back down the column. He'd won. He'd stopped the violins. It was driving everybody crazy. The monkey's very proud of himself and he's going to now jump from the column across the pit back to his bone daddy. And the roll did not go. I think he rolled a 2. So the poor monkey flies off partway down the column, flies off to make the distance across the pit and falls short and technically burns and drowns to death. And it was the saddest thing.
Especially, and what made it even sadder was the fact that Monkey Bone's just laughing hysterically as it happened.
Yeah, he's hitting the button on his phone is just this cackle as this monkey is burning and drowning. Oh man, I just wish people could see what this game is like. It's so fun. So is that everybody? Did we go around the horn?
No,
so.
We are missing.
No, we got
Did we? Wow,
Yeah.
It didn't seem like we got through all 5 that quickly. It's crazy.
Yeah, so it is a blast. This game is it's just fun. It's put out by, let me look here. Free League is the press. The press company puts it out. Let's see. I'm not sure how to pronounce it 100% for sure. Text and game design is it Pele Nilsson?
I don't know. I haven't looked
It's
at that.
I mean,
Pele. It's Swedish, so
I know there's can Google chatbot tell us what it would be in Swedish?
yeah, probably. And then I like this. It says graphic design and art by Johan Noor and Dead People. But it's just full of it's got tons of charts. It takes 2 seconds to roll. There's really the supplements are amazing too. There's so many people have grabbed onto this thing.
Yeah,
there are new adventures coming out constantly, and these guys with the whole debacle with the D&D thing and the Hasbro and everything that just kind of went south on that. These guys, which I think a lot of other people do, just on their website, it's like they say just use it. Like, make as many cool things as you can, make as many adventures as you can, bad guys, characters, everything. Just make sure you throw our logo on there and you say this and that, and people have just grabbed right onto that. I can't believe how much stuff's out there.
And I think too, in terms of ease, I've only ever played the Pathfinder version of RPG with Seth, who's not the most strict DM. Like, we have a lot of fun, we do follow the rules, but there's a lot of flexibility with him. And I knew coming in, this was a new RPG. I never played this one, and I knew you were a lot more committed to keeping the experience legit. So I was a bit intimidated, but I would have to say the mechanics are pretty easy to pick up after a round or two, and really, even when you start building your character on your own, if you just read carefully, you get through it pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's the thing. Like in the bigger games, I'm a little bit more loosey-goosey, probably not quite as much as Seth, like you said. And Seth's going to be on the next group. I can't wait to get him in this to play. I'm not super strict on Dungeons and Dragons, but like I said, a little bit. But on this one, I wanted to play the game with the mechanics that are in place to see how that worked, because I want to maybe incorporate them into some other things. And it's not super structured. I mean, it doesn't feel like you're weighted down by the rules in the game. When something goes well, it goes great. If something goes wrong, that's fun too. And so,
especially the combat's pretty fast in this one.
Oh my gosh, it's so fast.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
Can I say that? Like, you say you're more loosey-goosey in your D&D, but how many of your people's characters have you killed?
One.
Oh, I thought it was like 3 or 4 between all the groups.
No.
At least the one Galactic Driftwood people, because I thought John had died at one point. Seth,
John never died. John just he went off into the sunset. But Seth's character died, and Chris's character died.
Whose did?
Chris. He played remember he had the Warforged?
Oh, maybe I did kill a couple of them.
Just
Linda wanted to die because she wanted a new character.
Linda wanted to die.
Yeah, I forgot about Chris's.
Yeah.
So Chris and Seth.
Yeah.
So these, for our audience, these are all Galactic Driftwood podcast members who've been dabbling with the great Benito on their Dungeons and Dragons experience.
So maybe 2. But if you think about 2 characters over the span of 3.5 years, 2 characters every Wednesday religiously for 2.5.
Right.
That's not bad.
That's
not bad at all.
Plus, I didn't kill them; they did it to themselves somehow. All right. Let's look at this just real fast. Let's look at the website. You guys have probably spent some time on here, right?
Yeah.
On the website.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, hey, Benito, I think you have to add Roland into your kill list too.
You guys.
Roland was my fault. I rolled.
No. I'm not talking about Roland from the game last night. I'm talking about Roland from our other D&D game. Remember the wizard? He got sent back in time.
Yeah.
By the magic.
Roland,
remember?
No, help me out. What are we talking about?
So, remember Barry's character?
Yeah.
He got Wish.
Oh,
right. And then you said, okay, here's what the Wish does. You sent him back in time.
Okay. Roland the Magnificent.
Yeah.
But he didn't die. He went on to be a great leader of armies, and the history books were written about
from our
him.
game's perspective, he's dead. Way back in the past.
Yeah, so I think what he was missing a bag of holding, and Barry's character got a free wish off of this thing, this creature.
And we should preface a little bit by saying that Mike Peisch, who plays Roland, all he did was complain constantly about losing his bag of holding.
Right.
Right. So Barry felt bad for him. So go ahead.
Yeah, so Barry feels bad for him, and his one wish is, I wish that Roland had his bag of holding back. Well, the mechanics of the wish is, it's like any genie movie. You wish for something that goes awry. I wish he had his bag of holding back. And what it did was it launched Roland all the way back through all the years and adventures and everything that's happened to when he first originally got his bag of holding. So he's just gone from the game, gone. But when he reappears, it's when he gets his bag of holding initially. And then, since it's the butterfly effect, he's gone back. And then mentally, he knows where he came from. So now that he's back in the past, he just not screws everything up, but invents this whole new life and persona. And yeah. And then moving forward now, the world he was in, they're running across history books and books on magic and great magicians. And he's in them as this great force. Which will be fun when there's a chance you guys may run into him again.
Right.
Maybe. All right, let's look at the website, and then we'll jump off here because we're running out of time. But I really, really, really love the website, and we'll see if it'll let me manipulate it here. Yeah. So it's really just a scroll wheel brings all this up. Look, these guys just embrace everything they're setting the tone for it. Reading the book. Oh, go ahead.
And I was going to say that this is a labor of love. Like, you can really feel that with the way they are so open with letting people take care of it. The music suggestions, the character generator, if you're not sure or a little scared to try and do it yourself. Like, there's a lot of tools and resources, and that's what it feels like. It feels like a labor of love.
Right. And it's not just from reading the book. You read the book and you understand the heaviness and the gravity of the world that you're in. And you know the world is ending. You know it's coming to an end. That's in the book. But then you get outside of the book and you get into the website and some of the other things that they have out there to present their RPG. That's all they're doing. They're pushing the dark and they're pushing the heavy and the uncomfortableness and the scum and just the awfulness. I mean, like right here, like under hit points, it's a heart. It's a chopped out heart. So just the images that are everywhere that come out about the game. Their website, they want you to play this game. They want to give you everything they possibly can free to perpetuate the game after you've bought the game, which really even wasn't very expensive. There's character sheets, a few different kinds. You can actually get the game itself, the bare bones edition, for free. It's a free PDF. It doesn't have, all the neat text and all the really cool, fun pictures, but it's literally the text of it, and you could legitimately play the game that way. I love this right here. This, I believe, is where you can create. Yeah, this is just a character generator. And if you hit the button and you read through this and you're like, I don't really like this guy, you hit this button which says kill it. And so you kill that guy. A new one comes up. And it gives you really all the things you need to sit down and start playing. It doesn't have all the cool problems and issues that you may have, but you can do that through the book. You can add those in later.
Mm-hmm.
But I do really, really enjoy that part. There is a dungeon generator, which is really cool. I've used some different things here. But yeah, it goes through and talks about the entrance and who it's guarded by. There's 4 rooms right here of dungeons. So there's that. Rot Black Sludge is the game that you're playing right now. So that's in there. Here it gives you, so the book came, I think, with 6 classes. And they call them classes, but really it's your character. And they came out with, I think, 6 or 7 more here on the site that you could use. There's another dungeon game that's just on there. They got some merch, and then it starts getting, look, here's another campaign that's out, the Goblin Grinder. This I've heard is the one you're supposed to play second if you're gonna move on after Rot Black Sludge. If we decide to keep playing, I've got something completely different in mind, and it all ties in. But this is the one I think everybody talks about. Nice. Here's another quick little deal. But just look at all this. This is just all for you. You just download it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love this one. So if you're going, everybody tends to forget to loot bodies. But if your players do remember, there's a great chart here. I use this all the time when you guys are playing. I thought at some point you guys would check those guards for cell keys, but keys to get into the cell, but you didn't. But you still managed to get in, so.
Yeah, right. Thankfully, Monkey Bone had a crowbar.
Yeah, that crowbar came in pretty handy.
Mm-hmm. After the fly guy's already shoved his meat sack into there.
Into the room.
I love listening to Shookus talk about Fly Guy, and when he just crawled. There was a big pile of body parts, no heads, but just rotting, disgusting, bloated body parts that are just in a pile, just kind of mismatchy. There was rats in there, I think there's cockroaches. There's just things, and his fly. I mean, he's technically a hive of flies. Yeah. And so he just dove into this pile like it was a giant pile of teddy bears for a little girl. And he couldn't describe it anymore, how happy he was. He described he was laying in there and he was pulling the parts on him, and all that's sticking out was just his face. And I love how he's playing that character. I'm really glad that he's enjoying it too.
Yeah, seems like he's really getting into it, so that's cool.
Yeah, so that's something we should talk about at some point. We'll do it on the Discord. Thank God for Discord, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to decide if you guys want to play more after this. It wouldn't have to be anything that starts right away, because I know, Jenna, we're very lucky to have had you for these, what I thought would be 3 weeks, which is now 4 weeks. Very lucky to have you for those 4 weeks. So no pressure, no anything. But if we decide we want to do this again, and Jenna can find some time, maybe, in a month or two, and we can come back to it, that would be awesome if you want to come back and play.
That would be cool. I'm just glad that you invited me in, because we've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's so cool. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how the group wants to go. We'll see what direction we all go. What'll be fun is to get Seth in.
Yeah. Yes.
Guys. So I'm going to run a second group through the same adventure, which I don't think we get. Now they're going to know to check those freaking guys for this shit. I'll have to move that cell key now. It's going to have to be somewhere else.
Right.
Put it on the old guy in the other room that we didn't go in.
Right. Yeah, he's got him. He's got his wallet or whatever. Okay, so I'll run that next group through and get them going, and then we'll see if we can't. We'll see where it goes with that. But we got to get Seth into this group somehow for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You'd be right.
Yeah. Except for I think he wanted to play the bone guy too, so we might have 2 bone guys.
Well, let's see how this goes with Fletcher, because maybe Ben won't make it.
That's true. There's still a chance people could die. You guys don't have that hit points. Who has the most out of you two?
Most hit points?
There's 3 of us that have 10. Oh.
You have 12, Bill?
I got 12. I started out with 1. And when we leveled up, I rolled a 5, so I got up to 6. And then last night I rolled a 6.
Oh, so, nice. Jenna, what do you got?
I have 10. And so does Derek and Ben.
All right.
So we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, in the beginning, when, like I said, you have one door. Like you think I'm going to walk out the door and just die. So
yeah. I was going to trip on a rock and kill myself.
Right? What'd you say, Jenna?
It's going to create some false confidence.
Right? Those 10 hit points might go fast. All right. Well, I am so glad that you guys came on and we got to talk about it. There's so much
thanks for
more
having
to
us.
talk about and so much that we left out on different things, but I think this might pique some people's interest and curiosity in playing for sure.
Yeah, hopefully it's a lot
Especially,
of fun.
you know, in RPGs, you get to be somebody that you're not. You know, if you're sheltered or you're, you know, you just stay in your house all the time and you're just an introvert, and you can play somebody that's not. You can be a knight or a paladin, and you're out there and you're bold and you're taking charge.
Sure.
In this game, you get to be something you're not, but you get to be on the darker side, the grittier side, the more disgusting side that,
Right.
you know, we all have it in us, and there's no outlet necessarily. But this game, like Bill, for instance, you think Bill's such a nice goddamn guy,
And then you find out, holy shit, that guy's twisted.
It's a lie.
well, he brought his wife last night.
Yeah.
See what a deviant he was.
Yeah, because Benito was thinking, yeah, this game probably wouldn't appeal to Linda. But then we started talking about that 10 Candles game we played, right? And how demented she was there. She pushed her own child into the monsters so she could escape.
In this game. Yeah.
So,
You learn a lot about people. All right, everybody. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for coming on. Everybody, thank you for watching. Whoever can stomach through the whole thing. And check out Mork Borg. There you can get Mork Borg. Sorry. You can get it on their website. I got mine through Amazon, and you can't get it anymore. I had just read something maybe 2 weeks ago that they don't have any. They have sold out instantly when the OSR issue came about.
yeah.
And it was picking up new game, you know, platforms and systems and stuff. Their supply is gone. They have to reprint a bunch before they can even sell anymore. So,
Well, I hope they do it, and I hope people try and buy directly from them if they can.
yeah, you're right. I should have done that.
No,
And,
you didn't know. You didn't.
But now 100% support them. If we do play the next version that came out, which was Cygbore, yeah, I would get it from them 100%. There's t-shirts and some things I want to get from them as well. So
Good times.
What's that?
Good times.
So check out the game, watch some YouTube videos on it, watch, you know, after this one, then move on to some other ones and pick up some of the bits and pieces that we might have left out. And I guess that's kind of it. You guys have anything else?
I don't think so. I think we covered it.
All right.
Just get out and play. It's a fun, dark world.
It is.
Oh, it's just so dirty. Like you just want to shower. All right. Well, I'm Benito Garcia, the most rad nerd, and this is
William Danger Newman.
And Jenna of Galactic Driftwood podcast.
Where does it go? There it goes. All right. I thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Everybody out there, stay nerdy.